Millions of Americans are on edge right now, wondering one big thing. Is my $5,000 stimulus check coming soon? If you've been holding out hope, there's a lot you need to know, and fast. In this video, we're breaking down the latest stimulus updates, the truth behind those rumored DOGE dividend checks, and what's really happening with the $500 inflation relief payments going out to over 8.6 million people. You're going to want to stay with me until the end because the details matter, and they affect your wallet in a big way. Before we dive in, do me one quick favor. It only takes 2 seconds. If you appreciate in-depth updates like this that go beyond the headlines and dig into the real numbers, hit that like button and subscribe so you never miss another critical financial update. Let's start with the most asked question on the internet this week. Is the Trump administration really going to send out $5,000 checks to Americans through the so-called DOGE Dividend program? Now, let's delve into the latest developments regarding the proposed $5,000 stimulus payment, often referred to as the DOGE Refund. This initiative, backed by President Trump and Elon Musk, aims to redistribute savings from the Department of Government Efficiency, DOGE, to taxpayers. Here's the headline that captures the current status of this proposal. DOGE Refund Update. Will Trump still send a $5,000 stimulus payment? Everything indicates that the editorial line of many media outlets in the United States is not to take their finger off the pulse regarding the increasingly unlikely possibility of the existence of a payment of the so-called DOGE dividend, which should be dispersed among the entire population of the United States. Occasionally, as in a recent interview in April with Chris Cuomo, the main promoter of the idea, Azoria investment firm CEO James Fishback, invariably appears to claim that the dispersal of resources is feasible. Such resources would come from the savings of the Donald Trump administration's Department of Government Efficiency, DOGE, headed by Elon Musk, after slimming down the U.S. bureaucracy through an effective budget-cutting campaign that is bringing savings to the federal administration, not by $2 trillion, as initially said, but by $155 billion at the time. If this dividend were to be paid at this time, it could contribute a total of $800 or a maximum of $1,000 per taxpayer, still far from the $5,000 promised. However, this is not a race against what is collected, but against time, as DOGE is scheduled to operate until July 4th, 2026. And it is also a legislative struggle, as to date there is still no formal proposal in Congress, so the outlook still looks unpromising, despite what Fishback says, who continues to claim that the DOGE dividend is possible. Yes, I really do think it will become a reality, and I have unique information because I've been on Capitol Hill for the last 2 weeks, meeting with members of the House and Senate. Fishback claims to have the support of President Donald Trump, government special agent Elon Musk, and economist Kevin Hassett, director of the National Economic Council, but the reality is that there is still nothing concrete. Now, let's take a closer look at what President Trump is saying about taxes, especially in regard to the wealthiest Americans. His recent stance has sparked some debate, and here's the headline that you need to know. Trump backs tax hike on rich, but says GOP should probably not do it. President Donald Trump says he would back raising taxes on the richest Americans to help pay for his domestic agenda. The politics of a tax hike are difficult for Republicans to stomach, but so are the potential deficits that would result from enacting cuts without money to pay for them. Trump called House Speaker Mike Johnson, Republican Louisiana, about a tax hike and proposed a carve-out for small business owners, many of whom report business income on their individual returns. President Donald Trump on Friday tepidly backed the idea of raising taxes on the richest Americans, while openly wrestling with the politics of such a move and suggesting that his fellow Republicans should probably oppose it. Trump's public deliberation on social media came after he reached out to House Speaker Mike Johnson, Republican Louisiana, about adding a tax hike on the highest earners to the major tax and spending bill that the GOP aims to pass this year. It's the latest signal that Trump, whose agenda leans heavily on what he calls the one big, beautiful bill passing through divided Congress, is willing to buck the traditional Republican orthodoxy on taxing the rich. Trump in the Truth Social post Friday morning said he and all others would graciously accept even a tiny tax increase for the rich for the benefit of lower and middle-income workers. But the problem with that idea, he wrote, is that the radical left Democrat lunatics would go around screaming, "Read my lips," the fabled quote by George Bush the Elder that is said to have cost him the election. Moving on to some positive news for residents in New York. There's a new stimulus payment on the horizon that could provide relief for many families struggling with the high cost of living. Here's the headline you need to know. Good news! New York announces new 2025 stimulus payment that will bring relief to thousands of families hit hard by high cost of living. For families across New York State, 2025 is starting with something rare, genuinely good financial news. As inflation continues to stretch paychecks thin and basic expenses like groceries, rent, and childcare keep climbing, Governor Kathy Hochul has announced a new round of state-funded relief aimed at easing the pressure. Direct stimulus payments are back. Yes, you read that right. New York's new budget includes inflation refund checks, essentially a 2025 version of the pandemic-era stimulus checks. Here's how it works. Single filers earning up to $75,000 will receive $200. Single filers earning between $75,000 and $150,000 get $150. Joint filers earning up to $150,000 will get $400. And joint filers earning between $150,000 and $300,000 receive $300. There's no need to apply. Payments will be based on your 2024 tax return and sent automatically later this year. Exact deposit dates haven't been announced yet, but the checks are expected to roll out before the end of 2025. It's not a fortune, sure, but for many families, that kind of money can pay for a week's worth of groceries, a past due bill, or just help you breathe a little easier. Families with kids get extra support. The expanded child tax credit is another big win this year. Parents across New York can expect extra money for each child they're raising. Families will receive $1,000 per child under 4 and $500 for children aged 4 to 16. It's expected to reach 1.6 million families and benefit nearly 2.75 million children. Starting this year, all public school students in grades K-12 will also be eligible for free breakfast and lunch. No questions asked. This means no more worrying about lunch balances, no more applications, and no more awkward conversations at the register. Families can expect to save about $1,600 per child per year with this program alone. Tax cuts that go beyond the top earners. The state's new budget also delivers middle-class tax cuts, continuing a phase-in plan that will bring personal income tax rates to their lowest levels in nearly 70 years. What does that mean in real terms? Roughly 8.3 million New Yorkers will see extra money in their paychecks or refunds. And for once, it won't just be the top 1% who feel the benefit. The total estimated savings will be close to $1 billion across the state. It may not seem like much at first glance, but add that to the direct checks, the child tax credit, and the meal savings, and you start to see something that looks like real relief. Who qualifies for this New York aid? If you're wondering if you're eligible for any of this, the good news is that most of it is based on your most recent tax filing. That means you don't need to fill out a new form for the inflation refund checks. The child tax credit will likely be administered through your state return or added as part of your overall refund. School meal programs are automatically applied through school districts. No paperwork required. Still, it's worth double-checking your information at the state's tax website or keeping an eye on official mail from the state in the coming months. Let's be honest. Prices have gone up faster than wages, and many families have been stuck choosing between groceries and gas or rent and childcare. These programs aren't going to erase the cost of living crisis, but they do help. And unlike some one-size-fits-all relief plans, this one actually seems designed with real working people in mind. In a world where budget relief often feels like code for tax breaks you'll never see, this time is different. The money may be modest, but it's showing up where it matters. So if you're a New Yorker raising kids, working hard, or just trying to make it to payday, know this. The state finally tossed you a lifeline. And even if it's not a windfall, it's a start. A large, lump sum federal stimulus is widely considered inflationary. Economists warn that suddenly injecting hundreds of billions of dollars into the consumer market could push prices even higher, especially in sectors like housing, transportation, and durable goods. To wrap up, The $5,000 DOGE dividend check may never become reality. The current savings and revenue structure simply can't support it, not without raising taxes or significantly increasing federal debt. However, that doesn't mean relief isn't coming. Millions of Americans are already seeing support through state-level stimulus programs, expanded tax credits, and targeted rebates. And while the numbers may not be flashy, these smaller benefits can quietly deliver thousands of dollars in savings over the course of a year. If you're one of the millions still waiting on federal action, the best thing you can do is stay informed, file your taxes on time, and take advantage of every available program at the state and local level. Have questions? Drop them in the comments below. I read every one, and will keep you updated with the latest developments as they happen. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to subscribe, and I'll see you in the next update.